Hey my beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. It's your favorite voodoo queen Tammy and your favorite medium. Yes, I do voodoo. Yes, I talk to the dead. And I am coming with you today with a video giving you the origin of Halloween. In light of Halloween coming up on October the 31st, it's about time that we explore history and let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Like, where did Halloween come from? Like, why is Halloween celebrated? And most importantly, like, where did they get trick-or-treating from? Why did they be like, trick or treat, give me something good to eat? You know what I'm saying? I'm about to give y'all all of that. So please stay tuned. This is some very interesting things that I found. And we've been misled. We've been misled all our lives. And I'm here to set the record straight. Okay? So I like to go ahead and get right into it. But before we get started, if you have not subscribed to me, I want you to subscribe to me, okay? Once you subscribe to me, go ahead and hit that notification bell so you can get notified when I drop a video. If this video means something to you and it's going to mean something to somebody else, share the love, okay? Share the video. By all means, go ahead and comment, okay? So we can get a dialogue going, okay? I want to know your thoughts, okay? What do you think about this? I would love to know if I should add anything to it. Give me your expertise, okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. So I thought it was interesting because, they call Halloween a pagan holiday. And a lot of Christians seem to not do Halloween. And I just think that people just been told not to do it because they think it's just a bad celebration where a lot of monsters come out and a lot of bad things happen. But is that really true though? Is that really true? So I just wanted to know the origin of it, okay? So I'm gonna tell you, it was not always known as Halloween, okay? There's this group of people called the Celts, okay? They were people who basically were a collection of tribes that were in Central Europe, known as Indo-Europeans. And they did this celebration, which is called Samhain, all right? And Samhain means the end of summer. And basically, it was like their Celtic New Year's Day, and this fell on November the 1st. So, before November the 1st, they did a celebration on the eve of November the 1st. But let me tell you why they had this celebration called Samhain. So, if you don't know, September 29th, today is the full moon. It's a corn moon. This moon is all about harvesting. So Samhain was to celebrate the harvest. It was the beginning of fall, going into the winter, and they wanted to make sure that they had a great harvest. So they would do things like a bonfire. This is where the bonfire came from, okay? So basically, they would start this to start their harvest. So after the harvest work was complete, you would have these priests. They were called Druid priests. They would light a community fire, which I was saying is like a bonfire, right? And they would use this community fire, they would use it to represent the sun. And they would say these prayers around this bonfire. And they would also sacrifice cattle. And they would do this in hopes that they had a great harvest when winter came. Okay, so that was the reason for the celebration of their New Year's Day, okay? But like I was saying, there was a celebration that they would do on the eve of it. So they felt like on the eve of Samhain that people that were dead, not just people, but like spirits, fairies, goblins, demons, they thought the veil was so thin that they basically like roamed the earth. And this was the one night where the dead met the living, okay? So, what they would do is that they would go ahead and just celebrate these demons, fairies, and these spirits just to make them feel comfortable because they didn't want any trouble. They didn't want any trouble. And so this would cause them to do things like dress up, disguise themselves, because remember, these spirits that are roaming the earth, they basically think that they're still kind of like in the same place, so they want to see things that look like them, okay? So this became a tradition that they did before they had their Samhain on November the 1st. Now, this was in the 9th century. So you had the Pope, okay? So the Pope, he had this thing where he had All Saints Day. And All Saints Day was celebrated on May the 13th. This is where they would like honor, like, you know, Christian martyrs. You know, they would have Catholic feasts. You know, they would honor martyrs, even people in purgatory. But here's the thing, though. There was a conflict of interest, because they, you know, were upholding a religion, and the Celtic people, they seemed to be more pagan. They kind of went, you know, with their own thing. They had their own gods. Well, the Pope pretty much wasn't having it. So by the 9th century, they started to have some influence over the Celtic people. So they were also watching them and what they were doing. And they said the best way that we could kind of like fuse these things together is basically take what they're doing, but do it in a temple so it won't look so pagan. So that is when, you know, they had their All Saints Day on May the 13th, but when they decided to do this, they changed it to November the 1st. Okay? Now, with that being said, so on the day before, they started to call it All Souls Day. So Christians started celebrating on that eve of Saints Day, okay, of All Saints Day. So they took, like I said, they took on the tradition of the Celtic people. They even dressed up. They even did their bonfire. But they were calling on their saints, their martyrs, and the people in purgatory, okay? And what would happen was that they were considered holy, but the Celtic people, even though they took their ideas, they were still considered pagan. And that's where you would have, that's kind of like where witches came into play, and, you know, they weren't doing what the Pope or Christianity wanted them to do. They were wrong, even though they took their ideas, okay? So that is how it merged into Christianity. So when you look this up and you look into the history of it, it will say that this started with the Catholic Church of Christianity, but in all reality, it started with the Celtic people. They just had to kind of merge the two so they can kind of like kill the conflict, but at the same time, they didn't want to give them credit, and they kind of wanted to, like, you know, deem them bad for celebrating it in their way. So, you know, that's how that goes. So eventually, you know, for All Saints Day the night before, it became known as All Hallows Eve, which, like I said, was Souls Day, and eventually turned into Halloween. Okay, so we got that out the way. Here's the kicker, though. Remember how I told you that they would, the Celtic people, they would dress in disguise, and what we know today would be costumes, because they wanted to trick the fairies, the ghosts, the demons that were walking the earth on that day, because they didn't want any problems, right? So they continued that tradition. So, but here's the thing, right? Remember I told you this was also used for veneration as well, because remember, they wanted a good harvest, right? So a lot of the people that would dress up, they would dress up in disguise, and then sometimes they would allow themselves to be possessed as well. So this is what they would do. So they would go from house to house, right? Or from village to village. And they would dress up, and they would go to these houses, and they would pray for the dead, for the people that had died in these families at these houses. They would pray for them. And when they would pray for them, the people at the houses would give them cake. And this is called soul cake. And this tradition that they did was called souling. Okay? So, with that being said, that is where trick-or-treating came from. Okay? So, this tradition of souling, I feel like we have to be careful out here with this tradition of souling, because this is still practiced. Okay? Like I said, this is a form of veneration, ancestor worship. They are worshiping their martyrs, because, you know, they want the harvest to come in good, and they want their season to be great. This goes all the way up until Easter. Okay, so they have things that they're doing. So with that being said, when you have people that's coming up to your house, you want to make sure that it's not anyone possessed that's those martyrs, you know what I'm saying, or those people that are in purgatory. So me personally, I would not be opening the door for anybody, because for one, I'm not giving you no cake, and you're not praying for anybody in my household. You know, like I said, they were praying for the dead. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't want nobody coming around like that. I don't want that energy, because one, ain't nobody dead in my household. So I don't want that energy over here. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to carry that energy. So I have decided that I will not be celebrating Halloween, but I will also keep myself protected, because I do ancestor worship, veneration But celebrating it, letting my kids celebrate it, no, because it's too much going on. This stuff has been manifested and it's out in the air. So I don't want any parts of that. The only veneration that I want and the spirits that I want to be, that I want to welcome around are my ancestors. Not nobody else, not no martyrs, not nobody else that's in purgatory that I don't know or can't do anything for me, okay? So I just want to give y'all a quick overview of that, you know, and again, put some things in the comments. Add something to it if you would like. What do you think? Has this changed your view on how you're going to celebrate Halloween? Let me know. But I hope you thoroughly enjoyed this video, and more will be to come. Just keep tuning in, and again, hit that notification bell so you can get notified when I drop a video, and see you guys next time.